We have Eastmoor versus Independence. DeShawn, do you want to go ahead and kick this one off for us?
Yeah, in this game, I was like, in last week's game, we had Eastmoor Academy come back after being down for over a month in this game, and they came back really strong in this game, shutting out their opponent, literally shutting out Northland, making sure, and they actually looked like they didn't even miss a beat or a game there. So I got to give props to Eastmoor Academy. Now, South Independence. This game was a weird one because South had more plays. They had more opportunities that they could have took. They were 6 turnovers that Independence did. But the score was 20-0 in that game. Also in that game, I want to point out why South lost in that game. South ran 53 plays for 92 yards. That's 1.8 yards per play. Now, Independence, they ran 34 plays for 322 yards. They were averaging 9.5 per play. That's pretty much, you're running for a first down every play here. So that score should have been a lot higher than 20-0. And South should have at least had a touchdown, but that's just how the City League works sometimes here. And Ty, you said you were at this game. So what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was. I was at the Eastmoor Northland game. And I will say you are right that they look like that they didn't miss a beat after being off. But I will also say that they look like they weren't really into that game. Yes, they won. Yes, they defeated Northland in a shutout. However, Ahmad Armstrong did okay in my opinion. However, I think it was their defense that came up stellar in that match. Forcing fumbles, forcing turnovers. The one thing that did kill Eastmoor, though, is that 1 out of every third drive ended up in a penalty for them. Whether it be holding, face mask, offside. I think it was a total of maybe 15 penalties for well over 50, maybe 70 yards that killed them in that match. There was one, I was telling Anthony about this earlier. I think they got robbed of a touchdown also. They punted the ball, it hit off a Northland player's leg, and the refs called the play dead. Although Eastmoor ran it into the end zone. So it also didn't help that the field was totally terrible. Mud everywhere. Of course, the rain on Thursday didn't help at all. But I feel like they really took it to Northland again. Maybe less than they did the first time that they played. 49-0 was the first game. Mm-hmm. They may have taken it to them a little bit less. They may have let off that gas pedal just a little bit. Of course, knowing Jim Miranda, he really doesn't like to let his foot up off the gas pedal at all. He likes to take it to his opponent, knowing darn good and well that he's going to win. But I feel like that Eastmoor could have done a lot better in that match. I also feel like that they let Northland have the ball a little bit too much, and that's just the way that the night ended out. I honestly think Eastmoor could possibly pull out a win, but it's going to be slim. The margin of that, I'm saying a spread of 2. So I'm calling it now, but it's going to be a slight win for Eastmoor.
Okay, Anthony.
For me, this is a tough game. He mentioned Eastmoor was a little sloppy last week. Independence was sloppy. They had 6 turnovers against South. I know Coach Miranda and Coach Douglas, they're very disciplined coaches. I'm sure all week it was a rough week of practice for playing sloppy. So both teams, I feel like, are going to bring their best. My worry for Eastmoor is that layoff. Even though they did play last week, it's still a layoff. During that time, Independence played against Groveport Madison, who's a Division I team, and gave them a good game. They played against Linden in the first round of the playoffs. They didn't have that bye week, and offense was firing on all cylinders. Defense was firing on all cylinders. To me, the difference maker in this game is going to be Orlando Jones. He's the quarterback for Independence. He's also a defensive back. He had 2 interceptions for touchdowns at opening round against Linden. Accounted for 8 touchdowns in one game. If he can take care of the ball offensively and not turn the ball over, they have a chance. And if he can make plays on defense and with his legs like he always does, they have a chance. He can keep them in the game. It's just going to come down to, is Eastmoor able to score enough points? Looking at the Walnut Ridge game, they showed that they can play against tough opponents. Eastmoor hasn't lost a game this year, so you got to give some respect. I'm going with Eastmoor because they've been more consistent, even though it's a smaller sample size. But I think Orlando Jones can be a huge difference maker for the 76ers.
And it also goes back to Eastmoor having that win, but again, those penalties just killed them. It was crazy enough that Armstrong broke away at one point in time just to have that called back for a false start. And there was one point in time they had two offside penalties in a row, which automatically gave Northland essentially 2 first downs. Although they couldn't really do anything with the ball, you can't take bad penalties. And I think DeShawn wanted to add something over here also.
Yeah, and you mentioned something here about Eastmoor Academy and motivation here. Even if they were motivated, they still put up 29 points this week in that game. And yes, Independence, the thing is with that whole matchup here, I don't think you're going to see their team's tendencies rise up here. I think Eastmoor Academy is primed to at least show up hard on defense and really cause issues for Jones. And he's shown even against a team like South, who we know has good defense, but always had issues on offense, been a run-first team. They knew, okay, if we shut down the run, we're good. And that's pretty much what Independence did. You're now in that same situation with Eastmoor Academy of, are they motivated? I think they will be motivated. I do feel that they'll be motivated enough to win in this game. I'm thinking that this might be going to be one of those hallmarks in the City League Championship, that we might have a matchup between Eastmoor Academy, Marion Franklin. I don't think we're going to see the repeat of the Walnut Ridge Independence game, even though that was a great series and that is still a possibility. I really want to see what the coaches feel is going to be the best game. So, and remember that these two teams were your 1 and your 2 seeds. So I want to see the 2 best teams play, and I think Eastmoor Academy and Marion Franklin are going to move on this week.
Okay, thank you so much, DeShawn, for that.